Hey, welcome to another edition of Local Focus. I'm your host, Sebastian Noel. Today we're going to switch from the high school gridiron. Last week we had Isaiah Chavez on, the fine young quarterback of the Rio Rancho Rams. This week we'll go to the pros, and my guest is the defending CIF Most Valuable Player. He's the defending CIF Offensive Player of the Year. And when I used to talk about him, his name used to be Nate Effin Davis. But now that he plays for us, it's Nate Effin Davis. So the thing in the middle is still in there, but it sounds a little different, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, let's start there. What brought you from Amarillo to the Duke City Gladiators?
Well, first, I appreciate you having me on the show. I mean, that's first off. But the main thing brought me to Duke City, the organization, and of course, Delo Davis.
Right.
He's the one, I've respected his game for the last, 4 or 5 years that we've been playing against each other. So I contacted him in the off season, was like, hey, what's your plans? Where are you going to play at? And he was like, well, I have a documentary going on here, and that, I'm staying here. Well, what's good? And I was like,
That was his way of saying he's a big star, right?
of course.
Yeah, he's like, well, I'm kind of a big deal, Nate. I don't know
Hey,
if you knew this. Right?
I tell that man every day. It's Delo's world.
We're
I'm just trying to live
We're
in
just
it.
all trying to live in it, right?
We're just trying to live in it.
Okay, so go ahead, pick it up from there.
But yeah, so I told him, I says, hey, I'm going to try out the market. You know what I'm saying? But I respect your game. I respect who you are as a player, on and off the field. I'm trying to play with you. So how can we make this happen?
And obviously that, well, a couple of things that I want to get into there. One, obviously, is how did that relationship and respect build over time as opponents, obviously, because you were always on the other side of each other. And so how did that relationship kind of build over time and that respect build over time?
I mean, talent's going to respect talent. And, you know what I'm saying? I mean, at his position, you know what I'm saying, he's at the top, and I've been playing this. This is going to be my 9th season. So I've seen a lot of receivers in indoor. So, and he's at the top, you know what I'm saying? I put him at the top. He's a great route runner, you know what I'm saying, great leader on and off the field. So that's why I said I have so much respect for him that, of course, I, as a quarterback, would want to play with someone like that.
And then from you personally, obviously that had to be a huge decision because, I mean, you were the face of the franchise. You were the Amarillo Venom. You were there for an extended period of time. That was your franchise. That was your team. And you decided it was time to go to another direction. What went into that decision?
It's just time for me to, explore other options. I was just, set still in life. I felt like, hey, I need a change in my life. And that's the way I took it. And so I started exploring my options. And, of course, the first person I hit up was Delo. And, and this is where I'm here today.
And I mean, we kind of talked about this a little bit off air, but is this a last year kind of put a ring at the end of a nice career thing, or what was the mindset going in? Is it ring chasing? Is it no? I want to see what Albuquerque has to offer. I mean, how much do you have left in the tank?
I'm gonna ride it till the wheels fall off. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna ride till the wheels fall off. No, I mean, it's not. I mean, of course, if you're not playing to play for a ring, then why are you playing?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But of course, I love the game. You know what I'm saying? I study film still to this day. I try to correct my mistakes, even though we're in a different league. I still watch games, you know what I'm saying? Trying to correct what I got going on. But I will say this. No, I don't think that it's going to be my last year. Yes, I want to play for many years until someone says, hey, you can't do this no more. Then that's when of course, I'm still going to keep on trying to keep playing. But, you know what I'm saying, if they can't no one pick me up, then I guess I got to give it up.
Right. So it's kind of, you don't decide when you're retired, they decide. When
Exactly.
no one wants you around anymore.
When no one wants me around, then
Okay.
stay.
All right. Well, that makes a lot of sense. What else obviously brought you here? Delo, that relationship that brought you here, but the allure of the 2 championships. I mean, what else?
I mean, of course, everything they got going on here, Albuquerque, you know what I'm saying, the Duke City Gladiators, the organization, is just, they have everything great going on. I just want to be part of it. The main thing is, it's between Gina, you know what I'm saying, and Delo. Those are the reasons why I'm here.
And obviously, you've been here already now, and they throw the C word around a lot, culture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You have a very unique perspective now to talk about that because you saw the culture from the outside as an opponent, and now you're a member of the squad. What is that culture? They mention it a lot. They talk about it a lot. Take us through that.
So the way I look at it is when they say culture, because I didn't know nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? And then that's what they kept on saying on the phone before I got here is, we have a culture here. You know what I'm saying? I keep on saying, what do you mean you have a culture? Well, when I got here, everybody's family. You know what I'm saying? Off season, on season doesn't matter. Everybody's family here. So that's where I see the culture is everybody is together. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's trying to go separate ways. Everybody's on the same path. They're looking for the same goal. So that's the culture they have here. That's the foundation they have here. And I'm just trying to be part of that.
There is an abnormally large group of guys that are local this year during the off season. Is that different from what teams you're used to?
Well, of course. For instance, ever since I've been there, Amarillo, I've never worked out in off season. My workout is cardio. I'm gonna take a 3-step, 5-step drop. You know what I'm saying? That's what. Gotta run, I'll run. You know what I'm saying? But don't think that I'm gonna run 50 yards. You know what I'm saying? The field 50 yards, I ain't running that far.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'll let Dell.
See, I stay ready. I do pint curls, 6 packs, 12 packs, pint curls all off season. You have to stay ready.
Yeah. So, but you know what I'm saying? This is the first season that I've ever worked with my receivers that I have. I got a couple already. Still waiting on a couple. But this is the first season that I'll actually get to work out with these guys. You know what I'm saying? Because my workout is playing basketball. I'm just straight cardio.
So, having never worked with your receivers or any receivers during the offseason, could the expectation be from an outsider or even from you yourself, the best could be yet to come?
Oh, for sure, definitely. I definitely believe so because in Amarillo, my last 7.5 years, I showed up, day of camp, and that was the first ball I threw all off season. And now I'm throwing 2 to 3 times a week with my receivers, getting the timing. I say look out, man. We're very excited about this season.
All right, we're going to get ready to take a break. We're going to go into Nate's just amazing college career, a Ball State Cardinal. Before we go to break, though, you ready for some Ball State trivia?
Yeah.
Let's see if you really went to class or anything like that. What famous late-night talk show host that had
David Letterman.
Oh,
come on, man.
That's a proud Cardinal. We'll be
it.
right back with Nate Davis.
What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Dang, this one made me feel all special.
To win the race, I can't even explain how, in fact, I'm getting goosebumps right now talking about it. No matter where you go, you're an Indy 500 winner. The only way to be successful in racing is to stay on top of the technical edge, and we've done that with our dealership. So a lot of the technology in our service department and sales processes, everything is the very latest. That gives you an edge. That's being competitive in the car business. You can take it any way you want, but that's the truth.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Dreamstyle Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dreamstyle Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 10,000 homeowners improved their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dreamstyle Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club, or DreamStyleRemodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Dang, this one made me feel all special.
All right, we're back with quarterback Nate Davis. We're going to get into your Ball State days. Obviously, that was an amazing football career you put together. First of all, the college atmosphere there, it's got to be a little different than locally here. I mean, here, UNM football, you know, it's struggled. The locals usually count down the days till basketball starts here. But at Ball State, great experience. Talk about that.
So when I first got there, you know, they were a below average team. They've only won 4 games the year before. My freshman year I got there, you know, of course, you know, any high school kids ready to go to college, you know, saying the party life, you know, saying that's what everybody thinks. But they don't think about school, they don't think about sports. They think, oh, you better go to college, you about the party life. Well, you know what I'm saying, I got brought in, you know what I'm saying, with I got met up with, you know what I'm saying, 5 to 6 guys that I kept contact with, you know, throughout my whole life. But those 5 guys that, you know, we stuck together from my freshman year. They were older than me, but my freshman year all the way until my last year there. They were sophomores, and I hung around them. It was a great time.
What were your other options? First of all, let's backtrack. What were some of the other schools on your plate?
So I was a five-star athlete coming out of high school. I played football, basketball, and baseball. I scored 2,700 points in basketball. So my love was basketball at first. So the reason why I chose Ball State was the only school that said I could play football and basketball.
Okay.
So that's why. I had offers from Ohio State, Michigan.
Man, so you must have really loved basketball to turn down Ohio State and Michigan.
So I loved it, you know what I'm saying? My dad was a girls basketball coach, you know what I'm saying? So he's been a basketball coach for 32 years. So every day I had keys to the gym. So that's what I put my love into, was basketball.
Right.
And another reason why I put my love into basketball is because any other sport, you need someone else to get better. Basketball, you don't. You and the ball can get better by yourself. That's the way I looked at it. And that's the way my dad put it for me. So that's how I looked at it, and basketball was my love, and all these schools were looking at me, and then once they told me that I could play football and basketball, of course, my brother played at Kent State. They told him he could play football and basketball. He did play. So I was like, oh, of course, I want to be like him. That's my older brother. I want to be like him. So that's the way I went about it, and then started as a freshman, 3rd game of the season, you're not playing basketball.
So they pulled the old bait and switch on you. Okay, so I mean that had to piss you off.
Of course. Ronnie Thompson was the Ball State basketball coach, so of course I went to him and was like, hey, how can I get on this basketball team? You know what I'm saying? I really want, and that's my love. I want to play.
Yeah.
What can I do? he was like, okay, I'll take care of you. You know what I'm saying? We'll get you a scholarship because my football coach wanted to take the scholarship away, and he was like, I'll take care of you. Don't worry. Well, some stuff was going on between him and some people, and he ended up getting fired. So another coach came in and was like, so I went and talked to him. Was like, hey, can I come walk onto the team or whatever, And he was like, me and the head coach, football coach, are like this. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Okay.
So of course
that had to be pretty disappointing.
Of course, it was very disappointing. But from what I've learned, that's the way they do it. Of course, that's how they get guys.
That's
That's the recruiting process.
So at that point, when did the football talent eclipse the basketball talent? When did that happen?
So in just the one sport.
Okay. And so did you think, obviously you had just a phenomenal even freshman year at Ball State. We'll get into your total records and all that stuff. You can go through those. But did you think it would be as dominant and as immediate as it was? Were you that confident in your ability?
Well, of course. I feel like any athlete should be confident in themselves. If you're not confident in yourself, you're not going to reach your top potential. So, of course, I was going in that, hey, I'm going to be the best of what I do. I'm going to critique myself, and I'm going to be very hard on myself so I can be the best. And that's what I did. I had guys around me that wanted the same thing. So when they wanted the same thing, it made me even better. So that's how I feel like that, all the hard work I put in, everybody put in hard work together. That's why we were so good.
And, the records, talk about some of the, you guys, passing records that still stand to this day.
Mm-hmm. Yes, see, the way I look at it, passing record, all the records, those are just numbers. You don't get remembered by all the records. You get remembered as wins and losses.
Right.
So that's why I looked at it. I didn't care about all, because if it wasn't for the O-line, in any sport I played, in any, football, in the outdoor, indoor, doesn't matter. Things don't work.
But are you saying that now because you're an active athlete and you're in the fire? Because, when it comes down to it, when your kids or your grandkids are Googling their grandpa, those numbers do matter. Those records are there. Because, I got news for you. When I'm getting ready for a broadcast, I couldn't tell you a win-loss record from Ball State, but those numbers are there.
For sure.
How special will those be when you look back on it when you're not an active player anymore?
Okay, and see, yes, and I see where you're coming from, yes, as an active player, because, yes, you do, but when you're done, you will look at it different, and I guess when that time comes, I will have to adjust. But as of right now, I'm more worried about when you say Nate Davis, oh, he was a winner. I don't want to he just threw for this on me. No, I want to know that a winner was in his, behind his name.
So the transition from college to the pros, obviously you were a projected first-round pick. Talk about that situation, because that gets into some stuff.
Oh, definitely.
We're getting ready to get into some stuff, some deep stuff.
Yes. So we went 12-0 as my junior year. I had all 12 games were on ESPN, so I had a lot of hype behind my name, a lot of hype behind our school, and so I was getting a lot of looks, and so I sent some papers in to see where I would get drafted, just to see, I was declared nothing, and they sent me a paper back. I was declared first round, so I was like.
So you get that back. You say, hey, you're going to be a first round pick.
So I sit down with my family. That's the first thing, because I'm not worried about none of the coaches or anybody else. I said it's the family's decision. It's just not mine, because I'm young, I'm just 20-some years old. So my brother has already been through the situation. He didn't get drafted, but he's been, played professional, so he knew. My dad, of course, he's a coach, so, he's going to put it inside. And, of course, my mom. I'm always going to listen to my mom. So waiting to, we sat down and talked, weighed out the options, the good and the bad.
That's what you should do.
Exactly.
We have a large high school audience, and I know it sounds hokey, but the old pro and con list, you really should do that, right, with college and any life-changing situation?
Definitely.
So we got to do a thing, and we'll pick that story up right after the break.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
The world-famous Laguna Burger is beautifully handcrafted. A burger that's created from certified Angus beef, sinfully cooked to juicy perfection, and garnished with New Mexico's Hatch green chili. Tempt your taste buds with mouth-watering fresh ingredients.
Cut! We're gonna need another Laguna Burger. Try the irresistible, world-famous Laguna Burger. Visit thelagunaburger.com. It's fresh with a kick. Take 32.
All right, we're back with quarterback Nate Davis. We were getting into your story of you get the news that you're a projected first-round draft pick. Pick it up from there.
So, I get the letter back, me and my family, we sit down, weigh out the pros and cons. So we weigh out the pros and cons. So we said, okay, we're going ahead and, saying I'm going to declare. So I send my papers out to declare. So the recruiting process starts. I go to all 32 teams, see all 32 teams. They put you on the board. The only thing I never worked out. They put you on the board. They sit there and talk to you. They just try to get to know you, because it's a business. At the end of the day, they're about to pay you thousands of dollars, so they want to know all about you.
Well, first-round pick, millions of dollars.
Well,
right?
Yes.
No, we're not talking thousands at that point.
Yes,
right.
So millions of dollars. So, every team wants to talk to you. Well, so I started going, all these teams. So
and is it? Let me just ask: is it as crazy and as they make it sound on TV? Like, what was it? Dez Bryant, or supposedly the vice president of the Dolphins asked him if his mom was a prostitute? Like, do those conversations really happen?
I'm telling you, like, it's crazy that the conversations that they have, the questions they have for you, like, they will ask stuff about stuff that happened in your childhood that you would never know that they would know. But they're about to invest, like you said, millions of dollars. So they want to know everything about you. So I'm going through this process. So at the time, I need to find me an agent. I need to find me a marketing person, because they're talking about first round. So I got to have all this stuff set up
in place. You need a team in place.
So, boom, I start meeting with these agents, and I end up picking Jules Siegel. The first time I met Jules Siegel, he sat me down and said, "Listen, we have to overcome something." First thing I said is, "What do I have to overcome? I'm just meeting. This is the first time I'm meeting you." He says, "Your offense coordinator, now the head coach of Ball State, he is going around bad-mouthing you."
Okay, so you have a coach now that's in contact with these teams, bad-mouthing your skill set, and some other things too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
if you don't mind talking about it.
Yes. So they're bad-mouthing me. So what he is telling people is that I cannot learn big playbooks. The reason why he's saying that is because I have a learning disability. It's called dyslexia. So, but to me, I feel like the X's and O's football doesn't translate to schoolwork. Now, yes, schoolwork, yes. I have a learning disability. I'm not, I'm not ashamed of it. I'll speak about it. I have no problem.
But it's something that has never set you back athletically, obviously, because you were a 5-star recruit, and now you have this guy talking about this like this is a major roadblock, where it's never been a roadblock athletically, right?
Exactly. Because if it was a roadblock, like I tell all the all the scouts and all the owners, if it was a roadblock, would I be here?
Right.
And they say no. So I was a first-round draft pick, projected. Then I end up getting drafted in the 5th round. But so that just shows that they told me that I was going to get drafted. Once all this stuff was going out, my agent told me, said, "Listen, there's a good chance you're not going to get drafted because of all this stuff going around." But me going all around to all 32 teams, showing them like, hey, this is what, hey, I'm not dumb. You know what I'm saying? Went up on the board, showed them, they would tell me plays, show them what I would do and all that. And, I end up getting drafted in the 5th round.
The difference financially from first, just so our audience can understand, first round to 5th round is what to what, Nate?
Okay, so the number 32 pick, that's the last pick in the 1st round draft pick. Just to sign his dotted name, just to sign his name on the dotted line is $32 million.
$32 million.
I signed in the 5th round, 198th pick. I signed up for $187,000.
So here's a guy,
a life change,
that literally cost you almost $32 million. and the fact that it was something like dyslexia that had never stopped you before. It had never stopped you from putting up those records at Ball State. It had never stopped you from being a 5-star recruit. Now it had a major impact on your future.
For sure. But how I would say it, my life has never just been straight. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I've always had to overcome obstacles. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I've done. And I'm just going to keep on striving to be better for myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about what other people think. That's not, you know what I'm saying? That's not going to hurt my feelings. You know, people think different of me. I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about myself. Staying on the right path, you know what I'm saying? Doing right for my daughter.
Have you spoken to that coach since that has happened?
Nope, never. I've never spoken to him. Don't know what he did after.
So you, I mean, the motivation to cost the guy $32 million, I can't imagine what it would be.
I mean, so okay, the motivation was that he was the offensive coordinator. Our head coach Brady Hoke got a head coach job to go to San Diego State, so he took it. This offensive coordinator promised them that he would make me stay for my senior year. I was losing 9 offensive players on offense, 4 offensive linemen. Going to my senior year.
And a projected first-round pick.
Exactly. So there's, you know, I mean.
You had every reason to leave.
Exactly, you know. So then I go, you know what I'm saying, and say I'm leaving. Of course, that upsets him because he told the athletic director that he could get me to stay. And so once he found out that I wasn't staying, he got the head coach job. And so once he found out I wasn't staying, it was a problem because now the athletic director is on him. So now what are we going to do? Because now you have to start a freshman quarterback because that's all we had. Because they were hoping that I was going to stay for my senior year.
Right. So we're going to take a timeout and then we'll get into the NFL stuff. But the whole college players getting paid has been in the news. And I will just say this. This is my opinion and my opinion alone, not that of Proview Networks or anyone else. But this is the reason why I would always continue to side with the player versus management, versus a business, versus the NCAA. Because, I mean, if that story doesn't tell you that football's a business and that a coach will say or do anything to get over and sign his next contract, that's why I always lean towards the player. Take a timeout and pick up with Nate's NFL career after this.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Running short on time with Nate Davis, but the NFL career, I mean, you got to take us through that pretty quickly, but talk about that.
You know, I got drafted in the 5th round to the San Francisco 49ers. Mike Singletary was my head coach. You know, it was a great experience. I was there for 3 years. My first year, I was behind Alex Smith and Sean Hill. Was on the 53-man roster. The season went by, you know, learned a lot from both of them guys. They were great guys, you know, that taught me the game, you know, about being a pro on and off the field. So then my second year, Sean Hill got traded to Detroit, and then David Carr came in. So there was another, you know, 2 first-round draft picks, you know, and got to, you know, a great chemistry with them. You know, they taught me things that, you know, that I didn't learn the year before. We still had the same coaches. Then to the 3rd year, I went halfway through the season. You know, the whole time that I've been playing in the NFL, I'm a quarterback. Never played quarterback, not one day in practice. Playing tight end. You know what I'm saying? Blocking 300-pound linemen. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't me. They always ask me, hey, do you want to play? You want to play, you know, tight end? That wasn't me, you know what I'm saying? I can't, I'm not big enough to block those guys, and I don't want to, you know, add weight to, you know, do all that. But I will say that at the end of the day, I had a great time doing it. My last year in the NFL with, you know, the 49ers, I was, you know what I'm saying, halfway through the season. They kept on, you know what I'm saying, asking me if I wanted to play tight end. And I asked Mike Singletary, hey, what is your deal with me? You know what I'm saying? What do you want? What do you want out of me? what's the plan? And he said, well, Alex Smith's our guy. It's a money situation. Totally understand. So I asked for a trade, got traded to Seattle, and I was there at Seattle for the rest of the season. And then after that season, the lockout happened. So once the lockout happened, I ended up going to the Indianapolis Colts. And then I just got in a bad deal, with Peyton Manning. He was there his last season with his neck, didn't know if he was going to play or not. And after that, they brought in a veteran, so they let me go. And then that's when I ended up in Amarillo.
And, finally, before we go here, do you look back on that as a positive, or what regrets do you look back? Obviously, we established you're doing it for the love of the game now at this point in your life. And you can see it on the field. You're such a competitor. But how do you look back on that time? Did you look back on it positively? What regrets do you have?
So the only regrets I would say when I was with the 49ers, I should have just, stuck it out. You know what I'm saying? Just said, instead of being impatient, so I'm a very impatient person. I want things done right now. I want to play, what I'm saying? I love the game. I just want to play. It's hard for me to sit on the sideline and watch someone else play. That's very hard for me. So that's one thing I would say, the regret that I would say I'd have. What I'm saying? I should have just stuck it out.
All right, I want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
And tear it up this year. It'll be weird broadcasting with you on the home side. That's Nate Davis of the Duke City Gladiators. Good night, everybody.